Hey, new Era Sens fans, what's going on? This is Jacob and Jack with you again for another post-game coverage. Today, last night's game, I guess at this point, was January 25th against Vancouver. We lost this game to a score of 7-1. It was just like the rest of the season's been going. Hasn't been fun to watch, I don't think. It's been pretty hard to watch the way our team's played, the way our team's been coached, I think. It's just been all around pretty hard to watch. So
that was
we'll
ugly.
get into that.
That was not fun to watch, and I feel like I've said that 3 times so far, and we've done 3 of these, and it keeps getting worse. And let's get into the first.
Yeah. So first period right away. Drake Batherson looked great. I didn't notice him at the end of the game on the ice. I don't know if he went off with an injury, but I'm sure Twitter will let us know in the next few hours. Right at the beginning of the game, Drake Batherson looked awesome going into the offensive zone, going towards the net, and just making plays with anybody that's around.
Yeah, I liked the look of the whole team, honestly. In the first period, I thought it was great, but bad goal by Murray, that first one. I saw some things saying, Goodbranson should have had that or whatever. That's not on Goodbranson at all. Like Murray, that's a floater coming to him. He has to catch that, and then the slow reaction afterwards.
Exactly.
But I thought that they had, 2 breakaways in that period too. Like they were skating with them. They had their legs. And that's something that happens with, I don't even want to call this a young team, but let's say a new team. When they get down 2, it's so easy to get down and not be able to come back. And I feel like that's kind of the vibe of what was happening. And maybe we'll get more into that in the second after the Watson goal. But tough first, even though it didn't feel like they were down 2-0 coming out of that period, even though they were.
Yeah, it was a closer period than a 2-0 game. I think shots were very close at the end of that period. One big hole that I noticed in that period for us was our power play. Yeah. They looked so unorganized. They couldn't get possession. They couldn't get a shot. Like it looked like they were in practice trying to figure it out.
It looked like a classic Ottawa Senators power play.
It did. They keep trying the drop pass at the blue line, and it doesn't work still, and they keep trying it. Yeah, and I get that this is the first game against Vancouver, but they tried it in the first period. It didn't work, and then they kept trying it.
I don't know, man. And it's tough because, you'd think that maybe happens at the end of the series when a team like Vancouver, like they've played them 3 times, they start to figure out their power play. But it's all self-induced. And especially with Stützle back, it's so frustrating that, you look at his power play in that period, his shift, they do that drop pass, which I'm not a fan of, and I don't think a lot of other people are, but it works when you have speed, and Stützle has the speed to bring it in. But that top unit, they've got Batherson and Dadonov, probably the 2 worst skaters on that top unit, bringing the puck up. Like Dadonov, I think, just stood there, and I don't know what he's doing, right? You got to move your feet to get the puck in quickly. So that it starts on the entry. If they lose that first faceoff, it's not a good power play, and that's a waste of 2 minutes.
Yeah, and Evgeny Dadonov, he comes as advertised. He's a sniper. Mm-hmm. He's a slow skater, and that was on display tonight on zone entries. And as much as on our power play, he should be at the point because he's not good at those zone entries. Yes, he has that shot from the circle and the hash marks, but we can use somebody else there that can do better things in that position.
Exactly, and I would even suggest they got to shake something up, and I would say. Aside from what he'll probably, I actually like the lineup tonight, which is unfortunate because this was just a throbbing. But, I want to see Stützle on that first power play, and I think you move Norris to the middle, maybe move him around. But I didn't like Norris's game tonight at all. I thought he did nothing. So, I guess we can kind of move on to the. You want to talk about Chabot in that period? Because
so that was the next thing that came up was that second goal, Thomas Chabot, and it can happen at any time.
Yeah.
And it just feels wrong to be talking so poorly about him 2 episodes in a row of this. But he needs to make that pass. He's standing right in front of Matt Murray by himself, and he completely whiffs it, leading to an immediate goal.
This is back to and so I'm just looking at. I just saw a comment. Yeah, I guess this final score was 7-1. We kind of got this whole thing set up before that last goal happened. But we'll get into that too at the end because that was just unfortunate. But yeah, Chabot looked. The first period, I thought he was not very good. Obviously, with that glaring mistake, but that's kind of been all season. I thought he was great in that first game, but then since then, in this whole losing streak, he's just been, fighting it. And it looks like he doesn't have the puck control he has. I don't know if he isn't as fast as he was, but it sucks to see. But you also want to see him taking steps, and he didn't have a great year last year either. And he needs to take a leadership step, and this is supposed to be the season where him and Tkachuk are fighting for the captaincy, right? And it's unfortunate watching that happen because, blame the vets all you want with all their mistakes, but Chabot's a vet pretty much on this team. So
yeah, he's been here for a while, and he knows this team, whether he knows any of the players on it, because it is a new team and it's new coaching and whatever, but he knows the culture. Yep. And I don't think that's changed with all of the transitioning that we've gone through. But he knows the culture. He knows how this Ottawa team is expected to play.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about writing this out earlier, but it was just too much, and I wanted to save it for now. But I think if Chabot plays anything like he did tonight and the last few games, he doesn't deserve the captaincy.
Agreed.
I look at how he's playing, and he's trying to safety net the rest of the defenses if he has no faith in them, rather than set them up for success.
Yeah, and I think Zaitsev had a tough night tonight too, but so far he's actually been surprisingly pretty good. So Chabot's just gonna have to learn how to rely on it. And you say rely on his partners, but this year maybe not so much. But as we move forward, with Sanderson coming up and all the other prospects, he's gonna have to learn how to not have to shelter everything.
Yeah,
and I like DJ Smith sitting him down for the rest of that period because he did. I might be wrong, but I don't think he saw the ice after that goal.
Yeah, for the last period. 6 minutes or so.
Yeah, so I really like that.
With a mistake like that, you have to make your point proven.
Right, and like we said, Chabot is pretty much a vet, so that it's setting an example for younger guys.
Yeah, exactly. Like you got Brandstrom coming up, he's going to want to learn underneath him. And Sanderson, Jacob Bernard-Docker, all these guys coming up, they're looking up to Chabot and nobody else.
Exactly, yeah. That's pretty much all I got for the first period.
Yeah, other than that, I think there was just a few nice offensive plays with that Tierney and Connor Brown duo. They are lights out, man. Just
solid.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is with them, they are the only combo, I guess other than Chabot and Zaitsev, that was together last season, right? Every other combination, and I guess you could say Norris and Batherson, but that's in the AHL, so it's different. But I think that has more of a factor than people are aware of, and that's a risk. Let's say, even if the Senators weren't expected to be this bad, that's a risk that they were taking, bringing in so many new bodies in such a short season, because you can say it's early all you want, but we're 6 games in now they have 50 games left. Like, it's not like a long runway here. So I think that's why they're having so much success, which is actually good. It's good to see. So you hope that the rest of them build that too.
Yeah, there's just a little over 100 days left of the season.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the second period here. Immediately, Christian Wolanin, he takes that cross check. I don't think it was malicious. It could look like it depending on how you're looking at it, but he was going down and he shouldn't have cross-checked him. It was an unnecessary penalty, but it wasn't supposed to be a cross-check to the back of the head like it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the penalties have been a little suspect, I find, this early season. I don't. It's very inconsistent, and I'm curious to see how they call it going forward, because it's the same refs in the Canadian division, anyways, because the quarantine and everything. So
Exactly.
it'll be cool to see, or interesting to see. I thought overall throughout the night it wasn't too bad. I don't know what the power plays were exactly, but yeah, I didn't like. It was a tough penalty to take.
Yeah, and there were quite a few, even in the past few games, that just they're not necessary. And actually, right after that penalty was when Mike Riley, he almost got called on that delay of game, but
yes,
he stood his ground. He said, "No, that went off Connor Brown's helmet," and he was right. So he didn't get the penalty on that.
So the broadcast was saying, that the Canucks, this was a statement game for them. Let's say, if you want to call it that, right? Because they were not doing well, and their top guys were not performing. I'm looking right now at Pettersson. He was a -1, 3 shots, 15 minutes of ice time, right?
Yeah.
It's not what you want from your star forward.
From arguably a top 10 or top 15 player in this league.
Right. Yeah. And people had him top 5, as a top 5 center in the league already, which is fair, but, a game like that, so on that power play, right, where Landon takes that penalty, he's got wide open ice. And do you remember I'm like, this is going in the back of the net. There's no way. And then he passes it. He had a wide open and he passed it. And then he did it again, or Murray stopped him or something like that. But that's going forward the next 2 games. I guarantee that Elias Pettersson is going to score from that spot at least once over the next 2 games.
Yeah,
for sure. There's no way he doesn't.
He's a very dynamic player, and he's hard to play against. He might not have been tonight, but overall, you can't get much better than Petey.
Yeah. So just going back to the power play stuff, the Sens PK has not been great, and every team in this division has a stellar power play. That carried over from last season, so they're not learning on the fly. They're all right back where they were, and the Jets just tortured them on it. So yeah, tough penalties, not helping.
Yeah, we got to figure that out, especially because we had one of the worst penalty kills, I think, last year.
Yeah.
I know we had the most shorthanded goals last year. But, our penalty kill still wasn't great.
I think it was good at the start, and then it fell off a cliff, and I don't know why or when, but yeah, it was pretty good. It's the Connor Brown and Nick Pauls and all that, but yeah. Sorry, I just want to point out quickly, Shabbat, I watched him very closely at the beginning of that second period, made some really good defensive plays.
He did.
That I liked a lot. So that's what I like to see. That's what everyone likes to see when a player, especially DJ Smith, right? When your star player gets benched like that, the response, and he was great. For the rest of the game, I thought he was actually pretty great.
He was pretty solid. There were a few hiccups here and there, but the whole team was a hiccup. It was a 7-1 game. So
yes.
Immediately making some good plays. I think and as much as he might have a great personality in the locker room and everything, he looks at himself as an untouchable on this team. He's not going to get benched, same as Brady Tkachuk, no matter how they play. They're the 2 untouchables on this team. I think that it was really good for DJ to sit him down and say, you're going to sit this period and show him that he's not untouchable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, as the season goes on, it'll be really interesting to see, because last season was kind of a wash for DJ Smith, but I think the season is good because it'll show what he's all about and how he relates to the players. Yeah.
It's definitely good. And it's a really good opportunity for DJ Smith coming in as a new coach.
Yeah.
Because nobody's going to be disappointed if we don't do great this season.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody's going to be excited if we do great.
Right.
It's a win-win for him, really.
Right. It's it seems like it's a win-win, but so far the response has been brutal for him, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's more of a thing of, Dorion giving him players that he can put on in these situations. But yeah, it has been a bleak start to the season. I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, and DJ Smith, we brought him in because he was so good with young kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I will give it to him. He did a good job today changing things up, which he hasn't shown us lately.
Yep.
So at times we had a top line of Stützle, Batherson, and Norris. That was our top line. There was times that Stützle was playing with Watson on the fourth line.
Yeah,
it was good because this game was a wash anyway. It might not have been at the time that he was making those decisions, but he got the opportunity to see who's going to be playing with who for the next few games.
Exactly. And so I'm looking. We can kind of get into Stützle too, because I think he looked great when he was out there. I had a lot of chances. Like, stuff happens when he's on the ice, and that's what is the most important moving forward with him too. He was a -4 all night. Was he? In just 12 minutes, he was on -4 because he was on for that power play goal too.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think. I think he was on for the Chabot's mistake, that power play or that shorthanded goal by Vancouver that also should not have gone in.
Yeah.
So too, that obviously, like, you can't fault him for all four, obviously, but there comes a point where it's,
at what point does plus minus matter?
Yeah, it matters when it's an extreme one way or the other, for sure.
Exactly.
And Stepan also -4. That's not great.
Yeah. We got to get some things figured out with this team for consistency reasons.
Yeah. And we can, I guess we can keep, let's keep recapping what kind of the goals, I guess, what happened if you, I guess it's kind of a wash at this point. Everyone kind of understands that this was just a frustrating game,
It was, and it's hard to sit here and talk about because
it really is.
Halfway through the game, I didn't even want to finish watching it. Like,
me neither. I mean, it was so
it was hard to watch, and I think that seeing the emotion that came out in the third period, I'm going to jump ahead to that a little bit.
Yeah,
seeing the emotion that came out felt really good because I was feeling that too.
Yeah,
like too. Obviously, I'm not going to go jump Antoine Roussel.
No,
twice.
Twice in one period.
But like, it's good to see that they're mad because they want to win. They think that they can win these games.
So this was where my big. Actually, I'll get into it later. But I love how, whatever you think about fighting, it not that it just sends a message, but it just shows that they're not going to keel over and lose, which I think is good. However, it would be nice to see it done earlier than when it's 6-1 or 5-1, right?
Yeah,
when there's still a chance.
Yeah.
Nothing stopping Josh Brown from going out and just fighting someone in the second when they make it 3-1, just to maybe change some momentum or something. But yeah, so in the third, I had 3 notes. I had no Stützle on the power play to start. Well, I don't know if that's a message that he's sending. People were speculating that it's his injury and stuff, that they're taking it easy. I don't think that's true at all. I think DJ was sending a message. And again, I'm basically just going based on Twitter. But people are not happy so far with the way DJ has deployed the young guys on the team, and rightfully so. But when guys like Chabot are making mistakes like that, and Stützle, not that he made mistakes, but you can't be a -4, right? That's not I don't know. It's so hard not to read too much into that, but that's such a big number.
I know, especially when it's just him and Stefan, and they didn't play together.
Exactly, and like that play at the end of the period probably was the worst.
Yeah,
like that's just blatantly on him, but that's gonna happen, and I think that it's a long process. We want to see results now, but it's a long process of getting him acclimated to what this is like. And he had a tough night, and that happens.
Yeah, he did. And like you said, that happens. We see some other guys that had some tough nights too, like Christian Wolanin. He had a couple hiccups that he just missed. Like that one goal. I think it was the 3-0 goal, maybe. I'm not sure. The puck came right to him on the.
That was the 4-1. Yeah, that was the power play,
yeah.
the shorthanded one. Yeah.
Yeah,
that was like tried to poke to keep it in, and
and then he kept skating backwards and left it there, and then tried to go back for it, and then it was just too late, and he was gone.
Yeah,
and that's just a judgment call that you learn to make the longer you're in the NHL, and it was just a bad call.
And it's one of those plays. If he gets it and it pays off, it looks great.
Yeah,
but it didn't, and that's the way this game works. It's a game of inches. So he'll hopefully learn from it. I think it's tough to say who's going to be in and out next time. I guess Paquette might come back too, but I don't know. I think again, it's tough because I really liked the lineup today, but they lost 7-1, you know?
Yeah, like everything seems like it fit really well together. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
Anisimov on the second line isn't great, but
Yeah.
yeah. What else can you do?
I mean, Anisimov only played 13 minutes. He's not out there playing 15, 18 minutes.
Which is good.
Right? And, I mean, the forwards were pretty evenly distributed. Funnily enough, you want to just get into 3 stars right now? Because I want to talk about my first
we can
star.
jump right in there.
Okay, so I'll go ahead. I got my third one is Shabbat, and that's because he made that mistake, and then I thought that the response from him might have been a couple gaffes here and there. He made the shot on Watson's goal. He got it to the net, got an assist, you know. So I've got him just because I like the response, and I think that's going to be key moving forward, seeing how that, we got into that.
Yeah, bang.
I'll put Shabbat just because also no one else really did anything. So that's all I got. Second, again, I might be 3 for 3 with this one so far. I got Connor Brown again.
Oh, yeah.
Because he has no slow finish. Like he doesn't have that touch, like that scoring touch. If he did, he'd have like 50 goals every season.
Easily.
Because I think people were saying like this is like his 5th breakaway.
Yeah.
And
like
already,
he's just like Brian Dzingel when he was on.
Yeah,
he always
exactly
has the chances, but he's just never the guy that is the one that you want to put them home.
Yeah, and the way it's just the little plays that he makes, like it's just I've been saying it. He's the type of player you need on your team.
Yeah,
he's right where he should be, but he also led the team in ice time again, or for forwards, anyways, with 18 minutes, so a little bit less, I guess, than he's been playing. But and then my first star, I've got Watson, and I absolutely love Austin Watson.
I do too.
I don't, you can say, oh, I'd rather have Formanton playing there or whatever. Watson, out of all the veterans, and I'll list them off. That's Goodbranson, Anisimov, maybe even Tierney, Galchenyuk, Stepan, all those guys. Watson is the only one who plays his role perfectly.
He does.
He played the least amount of any forward on the ice, and he was the most impactful.
Yep.
And I think the way that he, his goal, obviously great play in front of the net, but when Tkachuk got clipped, and almost a headshot, very dangerous play.
Yeah.
DJ Smith sends Watson out as the extra man. He knows what's happening. That's old school. 100%. You're sending the guy out to fight. I love that. I love the way he plays. I think he's actually very useful. So I don't know. I don't like how he gets grouped in with all these people who are wastes of space, because I think he's got like a 3-year contract or something. So he's not like one and done this season.
I didn't.
I think
feel you're right, actually.
But it's like he's cheap or whatever, but he's gonna be here for a while, so we might as well get used to him. And I love him already, so yeah.
Yeah, he's fitting greatly on our team.
Mm-hmm.
He's perfect for that 4th line. He only has to play 11 minutes a game, and like you said, he was most impactful. Just that easy.
Yeah.
And I'm looking here. He does have 3 years at $1.5 million.
Yeah. So you know what? That's fine. Especially in a game like that, the fact that he's last in ice time, sure, why not, right?
Yeah. And that's the difference between playing him and playing Michael Haley. Michael Haley will play the same 11 minutes and do the same things, but he won't be in front of the net getting that tip-in goal. He won't be making the plays up the ice. He won't be chasing the puck down on the forecheck. Michael Haley is there for the physical presence.
Yep.
And I don't want to see him on this team again, not because I don't like him, but because we don't need 2 Austin Watsons with one that's just not as good.
No, we don't. And we need Watson, who's an effective player, which, so that's my first star. Those are my 3 stars of the night.
Yeah, so mine are very similar. I'm going to go Connor Brown for my 3rd star. He's just always had the puck. He hit the crossbar at the end of the first period.
Yeah.
Very close to making it a very different game, I think. And he's just always around wherever the puck is, I find. Whether it's coming up the ice to our zone or we're taking it down, he's right there, whether he has it or he's open or he's blocking the middleman. Definitely a good piece. Reminds me of a lot of how valuable Anthony Cirelli was to Tampa last year.
Exactly. Yeah.
Same
style.
third liner.
Yep. Perfect third liner. They don't grow on trees.
Yeah,
and we
exactly.
got one. We got one, and he's locked in for a little while, so that's good.
Yeah. Second will have to be Chris Tierney.
Yep.
He made some really good plays, and he had some really good offensive chances. That play from Mike Riley that got sent from Mike Riley was behind him and passed it right up to him, and Tierney almost scored it. It was a very nice play, and I think that everybody overlooks Tierney because I think for the last since we've found out about Seattle, everybody kind of assumed he was going to be gone.
Yep.
After we got him, so he's kind of putting himself into a role now that we're like, well, maybe do we protect him or do we not? And it like kind of the same boat as Nick Paul, like. They're earning their spots on that protection list.
Agreed. Yeah, Seattle is that's. It's easy to forget about that.
Yep.
Yeah,
only a couple months
point.
away.
That'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. It would be really unfortunate to lose one of those three.
Yeah,
because I think all three they signed them this offseason. Like they were restricted free agents, but they re-upped them all for like extended period of time, not just 1-year deals. So that would be really unfortunate to lose one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think for my first star, this might be bold because there were a few hiccups, but I'm going to go Mike Riley. He looked really good at times. Mm-hmm. Like when he looked good, he looked really good. He looked really good offensively, making that play to Tierney. He jumped in the play so many times, and there was one in the third period that I heard him yelling on the TV. And I saw him just come flying into the zone and just wind his stick up for a one-timer right at the dot.
Yeah.
And he was just ready. He was there for anything to happen. Mm-hmm. And I think Mike Riley fits in really well with this team because he's really strong offensively, which is what Ottawa defensemen like to be.
Yep.
But he's also doesn't rely on it for him to be a good defenseman.
He really plays into that left side being the offensive, like Wolanin, Shabbat, and Riley. Like they're all good, really good skaters, which is kind of it helps his game. And he was pretty good tonight. he was a -3, -3. The whole D pair, like they were all on for something. So you can't fault them there. But
exactly.
Yeah, that's a might be a bold pick. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it is, and I know a lot of people won't agree with it, but just watching tonight, I feel like I noticed Mike Riley the most, and in good ways.
That's good. Yeah, I guess it's got to be a good way.
So we talked about this a few times. Who needs to be better?
Yes. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Might have the same answer here. I'm gonna go with Matt Murray because. Say what you want about the team in front of him. He had a save percentage of .800 tonight. That is not acceptable. You can't, even Craig Anderson, right? That's the goalie we've been used to for the last, 10 years, let's say. He would have his off nights where he'd look like he would let everything in, but that guy would stand on his head and save 40 shots a night if he had to. Sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Murray has made the occasional good save, makes the saves you want him to make, but too many go past him, and that needs to patch up soon. Or I want to see Marcus Hogberg get some more reps. And you got to figure that out eventually for DJ Smith.
And quick. Like,
yes,
I look at, and this is another really hot take. I think this season Jack Campbell is going to be a better starter than Freddie Anderson.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I think Marcus Hogberg could have the same situation. Freddie Anderson's on that big deal. Well, he's not. He's only on 1 year, but he's getting paid $5 million, I think.
Yeah.
Jack Campbell is just a backup. So is Marcus Hogberg. I could see them stealing the creases, and it's a 56-game season. They're going to run with who's hot.
Hogberg was, the Sens weren't going to catch the Red Wings in the tanking last season, but Hogberg probably stole a good 10 points that the Sens didn't deserve last year.
I agree.
Like, I think there was something where he went like in overtime. He was like 0-8 or something.
Yeah.
But he got them to overtime. I don't know if you remember that game against Detroit where they he was flying around, and that's the first thing I picture every time. It was like
where they hit the post like 3 times.
And he stopped it with like the back of his head or something.
Yeah.
It's just crazy stuff like that. Like I think he's a great goalie. He was good the other night. Made 32 saves. What are you gonna ask for more? But yeah, I would like Murray is my dud of the night.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty popular pick.
Mhm.
And then there's the argument of, well, where's the team in front of him? And then I'm not even going to get into that just because that's such a non-ending argument because both sides are right. Neither of them played good enough.
Mm-hmm.
So for my dud of the night, I'm going to go DJ Smith. And he wasn't on the ice, but I think he's missing a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, I agree.
And not so much this game in particular. I think lineup-wise, he might have confused a lot of people, which could have been positive or negative depending on how it affected their play.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he needs to learn when to just do something rather than, okay, well, let's see how this goes. Let's maybe think about. He just needs to do it. He needs to step into that position that he got hired for, and he just needs to make those big boss decisions.
It's hard too because should they win? They're not winning, so it's easy to be like, oh, he's got to do this. But again, it's so early. They've just started. Like half these guys have played 6 games this season, and they've also played 6 games for the Ottawa Senators. So it's hard to. I feel for him in that sense, but
I totally understand that he has to try everything.
Yeah,
but
I think where people are getting sick of the veterans and stuff. I think the plan this season is to see what they have. If it doesn't work out, which at this point it doesn't look like it's going to. Sorry to burst anyone's bubble who thought that they were going to make a magical run here, but it looks like they're going to finish in the basement again, and that's okay if they manage to sell their veterans somehow at the trade deadline, because there is a trade deadline.
Yeah, and we have a ton of guys on one-way deals.
Tons.
That Vegas and Tampa and St. Louis and Boston, they're gonna love those one-year deals.
Just lots of guys like that, and I think that's when you're going to see the young kids start to come in, and it'll be at the end of this season. I think we talked about it yesterday. Just it'll be a little teaser,
Yeah.
For next year, and I think next year is the big one for them. But
yeah, that's a good take. Like, if Alex Galchenyuk can be anything like he was before, we can retain half of his salary, and Vegas has to pay him $500,000.
Perfect.
Yeah, like
there you go.
That's at least a second-round pick if he's doing okay.
Derek Stepan, hopefully he needs to pick it up. No one's going to take him. He's not doing anything.
He didn't look good on our fourth line tonight.
Oh.
Arguably, he looked worse on our fourth line than he did our second line.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all I really have. I don't know if you have anything else you wanted to touch on before we finish this off, or
one thing quickly, maybe the face-offs are a problem. I've got a lot of numbers in front of my face right now, but they've got 6 guys who took face-offs tonight. Norris was 54%, which is great. Nick Paul, a winger, was 50%. I don't know how many he took. It doesn't really specify.
I'd probably guess either just 2 or 4 if it was 50%.
Probably not many. Stepan, 44%, not ideal. And then Tkachuk, I think, took a few on the power play, 14%, which is not great. Right? You want to win those power play face-offs, because they can't get in the zone. And then these are the big ones. Tierney, at 33%. He was on the ice for a lot of face-offs, and I know they put him out there for a lot. That's not good at all. This is my favorite one, though. Artem Anisimov, guess what he was? I had no idea. This is what this might not be entirely accurate, but this is what they have.
What is it?
13%.
Wow.
He won 13%.
Wow. I'm impressed because I guessed that right, but I'm disappointed because it's 13%.
Yeah, that's good guess, but wow. That can't happen, right?
Wow.
you could say, oh, your rookies need to like rookies are faceoffs are probably the one thing that rookies aren't good at, which is fair because it's literally just strength, probably.
Yeah,
But
really though.
he's a veteran, and that's why he's here, and he's playing second line.
Artem Anisimov, we traded the exact same player for. Like that Zach Smith for Artem Anisimov didn't change a thing for anybody.
And I would have loved, like, Anisimov was great last season.
He was, yeah.
He was great for what he needed to do. He just scored some goals, and that was it.
Yeah.
But this year is not the year for him to play, and he's also at the end of his contract this year. So him and Stepan need to step up their game so that they can, A, help the team win, or B, add value for their trading.
Yeah, like something's got to happen. So
yeah. So that's all I got.
Yeah, and I guess that does it for this post-game coverage. It was a little longer than anticipated, but that's all right. There was that much to talk about. It was a 7-1 game that I really didn't even want to talk about, so I'm impressed we got it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody take care.